know there has been significant damage. And we heard from John Bennett in St. Charles County that he said it looked like a war zone out there near the Family Arena. And I said, what do you mean by a war zone? He started talking about houses not there. I said, what do you mean houses not there? Were the roofs lifted off? He said, yeah, roofs lifted off, some walls standing, some walls collapsed. I mean, that gives you the visual picture of the damage done by the storm that hit Harvester, St. Charles County, and over to Earth City in Riverport.
Yeah, and actually not long after that, at about 8:44 on the Illinois side, Hartford, a town in Madison County, Illinois, law enforcement was telling us that a tornado touched down there and that a building, I don't have any more specifics than building, was completely destroyed along Highway 3. So I think in retrospect, once this is behind us, we're not in the clear yet, especially south and east of St. Louis, we're going to be able to connect the dots where it looks like there were at least sporadic touchdowns, if not a fairly continuous path from a fairly significant tornado.
Yeah, and buried in this line of thunderstorms. Yes. And so often here in St. Louis, that is the type of tornadoes we deal with. Sometimes we get those isolated supercell storms like you see in Oklahoma and Kansas. More often than not, we get these rotating cells, supercells buried in a line of storms that produce tornadoes, and sometimes it's just like that. The tornado in Mount Olive last week was on the ground for like 10 seconds. Sometimes they're on the ground for a few minutes. So it can be brief, but it can be intense, and it means we need to constantly track these storms. That's why we've been on the air since 6 o'clock, and I know that we've got new tornado warnings. They're not new areas of circulation. Right. They're extensions. So let's get to that. If we had anything brand new, like a new circulation, I want you to jump in immediately.
Of course, sure.
I'll track these, and I know the alarm's going off.
I'm on my way.
Check on that. Yep. Thank you. Especially around Phelps County, strong storm moving in from the west. No warnings out there right now. Matt's showing you it on the radar as he zooms out. No warnings out there right now. But
it's a good thing.
I just want folks in Crawford, Washington, Phelps County to know that we're not leaving you out. We're keeping an eye on you. It's a great thing we're not talking about you right now because you don't have any warnings. Where it did hit in St. Charles County, and now we have news for Matt Cesny. I believe he's at the Hollywood Casino out there.
Actually, he was. Now
we're seeing circulation, and we want to keep you ahead of the storm. That's what we do to try and let you know about when a tornado may develop. Try and let you know before it actually happens. And in this situation, I think that can be critical because these things can spin up and intensify so quickly and only be on the ground for 60 seconds or even less in some cases. So keeping an eye on that. Again, just circulation aloft. If it tightens up, it can translate down to the ground and form a tornado. We've seen it happen. We're seeing it happen on the leading edge of this line throughout the night.
And even out in the clearer air where you've yet to see much rain, places like New Baden, places like Lake Carlisle, places like Nashville, where maybe there's a couple of sprinkles. In a daytime scenario, you're going to be able to see this coming in and until the airfield could be inspected. She later updated us with some new information. Scattered outbuildings, not the primary terminals, but scattered outbuildings at Lambert Field were damaged. The airfield would be inspected before flights resume. The terminal is open and seems to be in okay shape. And then more specifically, 4 outbuildings at Lambert Field were damaged. Flights will be grounded until the storm clears. She also tells us that the St. Louis Fire Department has been a part of 5 car rescues because of folks that got caught in flooded roadways. Everyone is okay there. Also, we have our own crews obviously out and about this evening scouring the area for more information. Jasmine Huda is en route to DePaul Hospital. Apparently a half a dozen windows either busted or blown out. Hospitals, healthcare facilities take these kinds of nights very, very seriously. When the tornado warning was issued in that area, they went to, Steve, what they call Code Black, where they moved all of their patients into hallways. The best news on this entire piece of paper right here is that the latest report from DePaul Hospital is that no one was injured.
Great.
Happy about that.
That's great news. You just got some news out of that tornado cell that was up in northern Macoupin County. Remember I mentioned Verdon, just near there, Farmersville?
On its way out of the viewing area, but not yet.
Well, it is out of the viewing area, but now damage coming in. And on I-55, there's some reports of 3 tractor trailers that were blown over. This is in Farmersville, Illinois, off of 55, and also some structural damage. It didn't say what houses or if it was a truck stop, but structural damage, Farmersville, Illinois. And as I on the map show you, that's going to be in far northern Montgomery County off of I-55, and that
over the last 45 minutes to an hour, but that the focus, the strongest portion of that thunderstorm has pushed farther to the east. As Steve mentioned, though, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning out ahead of that. So now what we want to do is pinpoint the leading edge of it, try to give you an idea of how quickly it's moving to the east, and give you some areas that are still in harm's way here. Because while downtown St. Louis is tapered off to just light to moderate rain with occasional thunder and lightning, there's still a risk to public health and property out there on the east side. So here we go. I'm going to try to pinpoint the leading edge of this, and I'll start right in the north central.
I just want to show folks what's going going on. We are still tracking the storms, and I want you to just check and see if we got any warnings.
Sure. On my way right now.
Let me know if there's anything important we need to jump in. But I'm going to ask Gary, my camera guy, just to follow me over here. Steve Savard's sitting over at the news desk, and I mean, I see you writing stuff feverishly, so I know you've got new information.
Reports coming in from all over. Let me update a couple of things, though. You're right about the Lambert. 4 outbuildings, 4 support buildings right now have been damaged, but apparently the main terminals are okay right now.
You want to go see and check in on a family member, you got to do that. I understand that. I'm just saying, if you come across that flooded roadway, I hope that you'll heed that warning. Just turn around and find the different route. It may take you a long time, an hour, to get somewhere that usually takes 20 minutes. It's going to be worth it tonight, especially with this rain coming our way. And it sounds like we might have some new warnings coming our way, Matt.
Well, while you're on the topic of flash flooding, total rainfall for the day, 4 inches. 4 inches, and it hasn't been a dry spring.
It's about what we get in a month.
No, that's exactly right.
In the month of May. That's, I mean, you've got a month worth, and look at the radar on the right-hand side of the screen. There is more heavy rain coming. I mean, each swath brings like another inch of rain.
And Franklin County on the Missouri side is really right in the midst of that train of rain that you were talking about just a moment ago.
I hear the alarm going off. You
go ahead,
I'll
check it out. There's another one on the east side.